welcome to another one of our videos. I'm the Worm, and this is the Proton. Today we're doing a review of something we haven't paid for yet. One of our Facebook members sent us these down. We've got to pay for them eventually, probably Friday-ish.
Maybe.
Nigel, you'll know him if you're on the Facebook group. If not, he's also an eBay seller as well, so you can pop along to his eBay or contact him on Facebook about quotes.
There you go. Yeah guys, what we're going to do today is the Aqua clone by Tobeco clone. That's done. Yeah, Nige from VapourSaints, website's coming at some point, but he's got VapourSaints Facebook group which we'll link down there, eBay VapourSaints as well which we'll link down there, and contact him directly through Facebook as well. That is what it is. So the Aqua is going to set you back 33 quid if you buy it from Nige, from UK, delivered next day. Awesome stuff. Don't think you can argue with that price. So 33 quid for the Tobeco clone. At the minute he hasn't got the hybrid adapter or the additional drip tip, but they are on their way. They'll be here next week, week after. He's shipping them out to everyone who's bought one already, because basically they should have been included and wasn't. So that is what it is. A few little things about it. First of all, a lot of hype around it, especially obviously the legitimate one. This being a clone, K-Fun killer and all this kind of stuff comes into play when we've read about this. So interesting. So what we're going to do, we'll go and have a little close-up of it. We'll show you what you're going to do when you're going to re-wick it ish, and then we'll come back up to us and do the flappy review.
Look out for the technical terms.
Technical terms are coming, guys. I'm full of them today, so yeah, look out for them, make note of them. Job done. So we're going to go up to close-up just now, show you it, and then we'll come back up to us. Close up, I say quick, it's probably not going to be, of the Tobeco Aqua. Okay, this is what you get, guys. Nice little presentation box. So in the presentation department, obviously stepping up the game. Little magnetic closing catching thingamabob. In here you've got some O-rings and some spares, which is always good. Four in fact, pre-made coils. So that's for 2 setups in there. We won't bother with those though. And then you've got your Aqua. So where do we start? We'll start by having a look at it, I suppose. Serial number 0403 for this one. This is Worms. Mine is something else, 0409 or something. And then your Aqua sign. Fairly nice looking bit of kit. You've got your sort of drill slot thingamabob at the top. And you've got your 510 there. We'll start at the top.
Thingamabob.
Guys, take note of these technical terms because I wouldn't want you to get lost when you're watching other videos. Right. To start with, let's start with the drip tip. Drip tip is incredibly tight, alright, and it's not really a 510. I mean, it's kind of 510-ish, but not. I mean, it will fit, but it's very loose. That's quite a loose drip tip anyway. We'll try this one, and well, that one don't even fit, and that one's actually the tighter of the two. Just don't make sense sometimes. But that's for a reason, and we'll go into that. Then unscrew your top cap or section and pull her off. You'll notice the O-ring on the inside there, guys. We'll get into that in a second as well. Fairly nice stuff there, stainless steel, little O-ring at the top, awesome sauce. Getting into the tank, it's kind of a strange construction. So as you're unscrewing, you'll see the 2 holes there. That's your airflow control. So when it's together, you kind of screw and unscrew. That's your airflow control. Awesome stuff. A little bit squeaky. It is brand new, guys. As you're lifting your tank off, O-ring there. Awesome stuff, and you've got some screw threading going on there. Obviously your O-ring gives you a seal to stop the juice coming out because you're going to be screwing and unscrewing that tank whilst it's full of juice. Then you've got an Ithaca Penelope Odyssey style cap for your build, and obviously O-ring at the top there to prevent the tank linking at the top, and your drip tip fits straight in there. So that's why it's so tight, because the idea is that your drip tip in there, you use a drip tip to adjust your juice control. Then we go in here, okay, and we've got a similar build to the K-Fun, if you like. You've got an air port underneath, and you've got 2 channels. Because we're designed for dual coils, you've got 4 channels and 2 air holes. Fairly nice stuff. You've got your positive here and your negative here. To be honest with you, I really wish they'd have done some kind of screw arrangement as opposed to these bolt type things, just because trapping 2 coils can be a bit of a pain, guys, so be aware that this is a frustrating build at times. Not been too bad. If you're an experienced coiler, then you should be fine, but if you're sort of more on the novice side of things, you are going to get frustrated when one coil moves and you tighten the nuts up, and nuts always go wrong. With this, unlike the K-Fun, wick goes down the channels. As you can see, that's how they set it up. You know we're going to run cotton in this, that's just how it is, but as stock silica straight in them channels, lovely stuff. At the base, if you unscrew here, quite a decent bit of screw thread on there. You then expose your centre pin. Okay, the centre pin is adjustable. It's got loads of adjustment on that. He says as he pulls it out. So that's what it is. There are, with this is Tobeco, with the e-cig one, there is an additional tip and there is a hybrid connector. These are coming with the Tobeco ones. Tobeco released them. Nigel sent us down these. He's going to be sending them down when he gets them. He's getting them in and he's sending us down them as well. Really, they should have come with it to start with, but they didn't. But that is what it is, guys. And obviously to assemble, well, I'll show you assembly in a minute because I'm going to put a couple of wicks in mine. But assembly is obviously bottom cap on unless you're running it hybrid dingle dangle, in which case you wouldn't want that.
Hybrid dingle dangle.
Hybrid
technical terms.
Technical terms for you lot out there, guys. Just pay attention. Then you've got your chamber and your juice flow control and all that kind of stuff going in. This is a little bit tight to start with, then you get your threads and on you go. I mean, with this airflow control, it is awesome stuff because it is truly adjustable. The more you screw it up, the tighter it goes. And I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but it really isn't the case with a lot of devices. It's kind of on, medium and then high. So this is really nicely adjustable, and when it's off, it is truly off as well, which is awesome. Top cap goes on. You have to give it a little push to start it off. Once it's started off, you then get it to go all the way down. Oh, hello. And then you put your drip tip back in, nice and tight. And again, the idea is that you then turn this and that adjusts your juice flow control, and then you turn that to adjust your airflow control whilst your tank's full, and obviously your juice flow control. Be careful when you're unscrewing this to adjust your airflow control because you can adjust that juice flow control as well. That is what it is. We'll go through a little bit more detail now when we stick a couple of wicks in this one. Right, what we've got here, this is mine. As I say, Worm hasn't used this yet, but I used mine last night. Again, guys, I'm not going to bother sticking a new coil in it because one, it is a bit of a pain, and two, it's a brand new set of micros. They don't need replacing. But what this is a 9 coils per side, 2mm drill bit of 0.37 Canthal. So we're fairly low. We're not stupid low like I have been, but we are fairly low. And then give her a little fire and bosh, that's the ticket. So standard kind of procedure, guys. We're going to do a little wicking for you, just purely because why not, basically. We'll stick it that way, it might not roll anywhere. Drip tip shield. As with cotton, guys, it's always the case. A little tear off and gauge your thickness. I mean, I'm quite used to doing this kind of coil now, 2mm drill bit, because it's what I use in my typical everyday. But some of you will run smaller and thinner coils, like sort of nanos. Others will run standard wraps around silica. That is what it is. I always tend, with most builds, to start off thin and get thicker as it goes down. With this one, bearing in mind, wherever you finish your coil up to say it's here, you're going to be using this much of this side, this much of this side, to try and get it fairly even all the way up. Okie dokie, and the thing is, I think my coil's going to be biting around here, so I might need to remove just a touch from this end just to make it the same thickness. That's feeling fairly good. Nice and tight at one end. Ease it in. That is not what she said. And then
she said ram it in.
She did, apparently. And then pull her through. Obviously, guys, as with cotton, you want it sort of fairly loose, but not stupid loose. So about there, one side down, and then grab a bit more of the old cotton. If you haven't tried cotton, guys, do, honestly. Best development in vaping this year, easily. We did this in our live, someone asked, and yeah, I definitely agree with it. It's the best development in vaping this year. Worm agrees, with the exception of us, of course. Let's go a little bit more, I think, on that one. This is, again, though, guys, one of the advantages of cotton. Just add to it, take it away, add to it, cock it up, get it going again. It's just very, very versatile, and we love it for it. So we're about right there. Give her a nice little thin one end and thick on the other. Thin first end anyway. There we go. Might just go a little bit more than that. There we go. And then ease her through. Put her in. It's actually a little bit tighter than I like, but as opposed to removing loads, I'm just going to whip a bit out here because the coil's going to be sitting with wick either side. Whip a bit out there. Get off. Flatten her out again and then put her through. That's much better. Okay, that's what we've got. Now what I've been doing is literally just pulling it down here like so, and basically cutting it, sorry guys, basically cutting it round about level with the O-ring. So there, and then we'll see what happens when we come to put it all in. Well, you didn't see much of that because you've got bird's eye view, guys, but sometimes you just got to be able to see. Then what we do with this, now we've got a little cotton arrangement going on here. Have you got a little a prong me dingle, gold screwdriver or something? Yeah, lovely. We'll just get me something to stab this in with. Fantastic, excellent little screwdrivers these are, guys. Now what we're going to do, firstly, get that coil primed. Alright guys, you do not want to fill this tank and then realise you've burnt the coil, or burnt the wick, sorry. So coil primed, plenty of it, and then I'd be semi-generous down these wicks here. Bit of juice never hurt anyone, well, unless you listen to the government, in which case it hurts everyone. Right down there. Obviously all four, you only need enough to keep them in place. You can fully prime them once they're in place and slotted in. So that will do for now. To be honest, it's pretty much fully primed anyway. And then what you want to do is literally, what I do is grab that down there. I may have been a little bit generous, but cotton's very absorbent, so that'll be fine. Just bear in mind, guys, that you want to kind of give it one of them there, so it's flat there and then flat up there, because you've got screw thread in here and that's where your juice flow control is going to go. You don't want it to be ripping your build apart. So although cotton would usually choke when swollen, you've primed it, so you're alright to kind of abuse it slightly, I've found anyway. Same in all four. So give it one of those, kind of along the front and then along the back. Plenty of juice up there to lubricate things and bobs and stuff and all that kind of good bits and bobs. Right.
More technical terms for you. What's out there on YouTube? Bits and bobs. Bits and bobs and thingy-dingles. And then pretty much for now, that's it. We're going to stick the chamber on and see whether we catch any of that cotton, because we're more than primed. So basically chamber just over the top, we're fine. Straight down, guys. First, if you fill in this all the way down, alright, do not leave that open at all. Then what I did first time was just a little bit of e-liquid on this O-ring, not much, just a little bit, just to help it slop over this tank and make sure that it's nice and easy to bite in. And you'll notice the difference between the one and we did a second go of worms, and then this one now, because it's gone straight away nice and easy. Again, nice and tight, do not leave that open, peoples. Then grab our top cap. I haven't found I've needed to lube this O-ring as much, but I wouldn't want to do that straight away now because I've got to fill it, haven't I? Filling it, simple stuff, just give it a good old squeeze until we're basically up to the threads where I found. Now there's between, what I've read about this is it's between 1.5 and 3 mil. Personally, I'd say it's around about 2.5 to 3. I think people are a bit under exaggerating, but that's what it is. Again, you have to push that on a little bit tight to start with, then give her a nice old screw. And what I tend to do is make sure that this, usually you'd want to lube up the O-ring to get it in nice. I try and make sure that this connection here is as dry as possible, because that then gives you your control back. And then obviously what I would tend to do now before I start playing with juice control, flip it upside down and expose those air holes slightly. Okay, let the air into the chamber so you don't flood it. Then you can start playing around with juice control and God knows what else. If it's gripped on you, you've let the air in now, so it should have spaced itself out a bit. Get it back down, undo it. So I've just felt that guard. I don't know if you can see that spinning there, guys, but yeah, you can. Okay, and then off we go again. Alright, chances are it's just that top O-ring needs a bit of e-liquid, despite the fact I've said I don't bother. That is it. That's filling an Aqua clone, priming it, and getting it ready to go. So what we're going to do now is bung this on a mod, and we'll come back up to us and have a nice little flappery doogan. Guys, that was the up close of the Aqua tank from Nigel. Yeah, still yet to pay for it, but is what it is. Did you get all those technical terms? Did you jot them down? Dingle dangle, bits and bobs. Who's your milk flops? There you go. But yeah. Indeed. Right guys, as we said, price 33 quid delivered. Cannot argue with that price at all. I mean, even on Fast-Tick, I think the release one it was about $25, and then the release one was about $15. That had the extra stuff with it, and then everyone was like, I've got to cancel my order, no, I'll do that one. Yeah, tight ass. Both. But no, honestly, if you went next day, go to Nigel's got a lot of other stuff that we're going to do reviews of, hammers and
some really cool stuff coming as well, guys. Really cool stuff. So yeah, keep a lookout for that again down there. Getting into the Aqua, as you see, the build itself, you didn't see me put the coils in, but you did see the coils I put in there. Do want to say that them coils, that was attempt number 3. First 2 times I thought I'd wrap a semi-legitimate resistance, sort of 1.2 ohms or something, using 30 or 32. Both of them decided to pop, break and fizzle whizzle on me.
Fizzle whizzle. These technical terms today, guys, they're just
smashing them out. And I got the amps, I thought screw it, I'm just going to go back to doing what I do best, which is low. And 0.37, 9 reps of each on either side. We're looking around about 0.7, 0.8ish. I haven't actually measured it, to be honest with you. I'll never follow my own advice, naughty me. But that is what it is. You see the cotton going on, guys. You see how I put it all together. It looks more complicated than it is, to be honest with you. I haven't actually had any problems, especially if you're doing what we're doing at the minute, which is micro coils. Chuck them in there. All you've got to do is replace cotton. So that is what it is.
As you saw, guys, obviously we had a little bit of technical issues there, a little bit of snip and cut, but yeah, as you can see, this is a dual coil at the moment. We haven't tried it single coil yet, and we haven't yet to play around with it that much. We don't know whether you need to block up that other air channel on the other side, whichever side you're using, because obviously more airflow with only one coil can give you more or less throat hit depending on your wrap and obviously the juice you're using. So we'll let you know this to be continued on the single coil issue, but dual coil at the moment, yes. That is
what it is. Guys, a quick note on the single coil has just come to me. What I would do if you wanted a single coil in this toothpick, cut it long, okay, so too long so it actually keeps, it sticks out of the hole. You don't want to block that up and not be able to unblock it. Stick a toothpick in so it sticks out by about 6 or 7 mil, and then just wrap it on one side. Jobs are good and
I would also, on the side that you're not using the 2 juice feeds, put some cotton or whatever you're using in there and whip it up to the coil.
Yeah.
Or even if you just whip them to the bottom of the other wick, or whichever you're using, silica or cotton, then so they all attach, they all feed the same coil basically.
Indeed. As far as bits and bobs using the tank and whatever else, we've not had ages with it, but I did use it all last night and all today. No problems whatsoever. I found the juice flow control with using this setup with the cotton. You don't need it, just leave it all the way closed. It wicks lovely. Now and again you get the occasional dry hit, half a turn for 2 seconds, back up and we're away again. So that is what it is. Especially if you're using full batteries, you may need to back it off slightly, but once your battery's bedded in, turn it down, you'll find. Airflow control, lovely. In its most open, 2.2 mil, something like that, and then obviously it's completely adjustable all the way from that kind of draw all the way to nothing. So awesome for that as well, no matter what you like, it's there. The quality of it, sort of satin finished with polished top and drip tip and juice flow control. I think it's lovely because you can stick it with a satin mod, you can stick it with a polished mod. It all looks good, and obviously once you've got the hybrid pins in there, if you've got the Origin or the Origin clone, you can then hybrid it, which is it's even better, isn't it? Direct contact, and also what can go wrong? Just stick it on, it looks gorgeous. So that is what it is. You gonna pipe in or no?
I was going to say something, but I completely forgot.
Happens. There you go.
I'll remember in a second. I'm going to butt in. So yeah, there was something, but I cannot remember what it was.
Living with the thing in general, from what experience we've had with it so far, it does like to give you a little bit of a kick. This one, in terms of throat hit.
That was it.
Okay, there you go. Well, do you want to take it?
Yeah, it was just basically we tried this on the first juice Mr. Prawn put in there. And I've got VapourSaints at the moment. It's slowly fading. I can taste juices now, but it's still kind of like mild on everything. But I don't get throat hit. You should know that from our juice reviews and that. I picked this up and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's hit my throat. And I felt like I'd been punched in the throat. And it's been a while since I've been punched in the throat by juice, except for when we're vaping 18s or 24s. I don't really feel any throat hit. And this just come around and went poof. And I was like, I had to put it down. But since we put a sweeter juice in there, I have to say the throat hit has dropped incredibly amount. I mean, it's gone from like, it was about 5 for me, and now it's gone to like about 0.5.
I mean, so if you're using a juice that's kind of a 2 or 3 on the scale, expect it to bump up a few notches. Yeah. Basically, this is basically no throat hit whatsoever. So you're now getting a little bit on about 10 milligram strength. This is DIY. I made it cake batter. So that is what it is. Yummy, yummy stuff. But that is what it is, guys. So just if you're a fan of throat hit, you're going to love this thing, honestly. I mean, again, we haven't tried single coil. We thought, might as well just go straight for the dual coil. Now, I won't bother recording this in terms of the coils for a month, maybe more, depending on how the coils stand up. Advise you doing it this way. And with this setup in this dual coil, definitely recommend that you do it this way. We'll go into a 5-point hit list, guys, and then no doubt we've got some flapping that'll come to us whilst we're chatting about it on the way through. Just want to point out, it is hammer time, guys.
Yeah, just before we go into the 5-point, I just want to say that if you are keeping the coils in there with cotton like we do, rinse it very harshly on a nice hot tap, and then when you get it back, heat the coils on their own without no cotton in there, and give them a good blow on them. This clears off all the excess crap to be blunt, and then just recotton it after that. But make sure the coils go cool before you recotton it, obviously, else it's going to destroy your cotton before you go anywhere. But yeah,
there you go. So 5-point hitter first of all. Looks, for me personally, love it. Astounding looks. 21mm, guys, same as the Origin, not 22. A little bit of a downside, but not really, because let's face it, you bought this clone for 30 quid off Nige. You get the Origin on Fast Tech Redugan for about 15 quid. Clone, obviously. You've got a lovely hybrid look, 21mm, gorgeous stuff. Me personally, looks 10, love it.
I think it's a sexy fish.
It's a sexy fish.
It is, it's a sexy fish. There's not many tank systems out there that I think that come close in terms of like K-Fun looks with performance, you know, and this is one of them that's doing it basically. Plus it's meant to be a dual coil setup as well, which is obviously something the K-Fun does, you can do, but it doesn't offer, you know, as stock. And yeah, I think it looks awesome. I think normally I wouldn't go for this like little stuff at the top, but it does fit in with the Origin, and that's what it's meant to do. So, and I actually quite like the look of the Origin mod. He's getting one. I'm obviously going to use whenever I can, because we basically share stuff over. It's not like anything is ours. It is ours, but it's kind of like just use it. Yeah. You know. And I think this is really good looking. I think it's a 10.
Yeah, obviously on looks like, guys, we're both giving it 10. Credit goes to who makes it and not who clones it, unfortunately. But no matter, it's a clone, I still give it a 10. But yeah, credit where it's due, obviously. Usability. Now, dual core setup, this one is a particularly difficult one if you compare it to something like the Trident or the Helios. I know they're drippers, but you know what I'm getting at. Because of that nut system, it is a bit of a pain in the arse. It'd be nice even if the post had holes in and then you screwed your nut on, because at least there'd be something there to hold it. You just kind of, what I did, guys, was through the middle of the nuts and then bent them out. Okay, and then same on the other side, bent it out so they kind of held themselves a little bit, and I was using drill bits to maintain coil shape, and then once I screwed it in, be careful because it is going to pull them if you screw it tight, and I always like to screw things tight, especially like this, because them coming undone is just a nightmare, especially if it's the only tank you've got on you. So yeah, I did screw these down really tight, and it's not going to be an issue, but yeah, I went between the posts. If you've got a longer coil or a bigger coil, if you're using lower res wire, but lower res wire but more racks, or whatever you want to do, if you're going on the outside of the posts, you're definitely going to get some coil movements, so take that into account. With cotton, no more difficult than a K-Fun. Juice it up, get them wicks where they're supposed to be, and that's the job done. Usability for me, in terms of the grand scheme of things, it's going to get an 8. In terms of a rebuildable of this kind of type dual core, when springs to head immediately, things like this, like a Thacker spring to head, then this is definitely better than that to build it. Obviously it's an all-res build, and that's just what it is. But overall usability for me is going to get an 8. If you're a novice though, guys, I would steer clear or buy and prepare to be agitated.
Yeah, usability, I want to agree with an 8 on this one, because it's not overly difficult if you know what you're doing with dual coils, but it is still going to be a pain compared to like your Tridents and that. I mean, it would be lovely if they put the Trident centre posters in, then we could just slop them in and screw down on top of it. That would be awesome. This would eradicate all the problems with this, the dual coil of this setup. But other than that, you got a little bit of learning curve with, obviously you've got juice flow control in there, so making sure that stays closed when you're opening your airflow, stuff like that, because you will flood a little bit. We had, well, Miss Prone had a little bit. It wasn't gashing out, but it was enough to get the tissue out, basically, just to wipe it off the mod and that. So there was a little bit of I wouldn't say leakage, but just user error sort of thing. Other than that, it's not really overly hard to fill up. It's not really extremely hard to wick. I mean, you said about putting the
between the posts
and pulling it out. Once you've got both of them through, what I would do is maybe twist them so around the nut, so you've got a little bit of knock and lock that bit down. So you kind of twist them 2 or 3 times, and you actually lock on the twist. That way they're never going to fall out. But it's just saying whatever you feel better or more comfortable with using. So
definitely, it's all about what you can, not only what you're comfortable with, but what you can actually manage. All right, it's just.
But I'm just thinking for first-time coilers and that, if you twist the 2 wires here, once you've got them around the nut on the other side, it's only going to hold it that much stronger.
I mean, if you're using res no res pre-mates, it's not going to be anywhere near as much of an issue because let's face it, all of your res is going to be on the coil, so nice. It's lovely, isn't it?
My favourite's going for a bit better.
There you go, guys. Maintenance is what's next, but on usability, I do just want to point out because I think it's kind of usability in terms of drip tips. To be honest with you, you can put other ones in there, especially if they're slightly tighter in other RTAs, and they will fit in this just fine. But it makes the juice flow control harder to use, so just bear that in mind. It's a slight negative, but the drip tip looks banging and it's awesome in your mouth, so that's just what it is. Maintenance for me, there's a few parts. There is a few parts. It is a rebuildable. You expect to be a few parts, and it is a dual coil, which again usually would be a knock on the shoulder. If you're running this kind of setup, you've just seen all I did beforehand was wash it out and dry it off like you would with a K-Fun, for example, running a similar coil setup. Once you've got it set up and you're gonna recotton it or whatever you're going to do, because I know most of the guys are doing this, no problem whatsoever. It's the same as a K-Fun. You just got to put one more bit of cotton through one more coil and see it in 2 more channels. So in terms of that kind of maintenance, it's the same as a K-Fun. But overall, if you take coiling into account and films, it's gonna get sort of a 7 version on 8, I guess, just because it's not one for guys that aren't patient. And you know, I'm not I've managed it, so it's more than achievable. But
it's more dependent on your skill level of coiling, basically. Maintenance for me, you saw it all come apart. I think the only piece you can lose when you're washing this is maybe if you've adjusted that 510 out for one of your atomizers, or one of your mods, sorry. If you've left that out, maybe when you're washing you may knock that off and lose it down the sink. But as long as you make sure that's tight, I don't think there's anything there that is small enough to fit down a sink for you to worry about. As long as you make sure the 2 top nuts for your actual inside of your build and your bottom 510 is securely tightened, you're going to have no problems losing anything except for maybe O-rings. But those O-rings are all in grooves on this, I've noticed, and they're not likely to fall out. You're going to have a job getting them out, let alone them falling out. So
I mean, over time they'll wear, but you get spares, guys, so that is what it is. And O-rings, a box of 500 for about £5, so you're paying a penny an O-ring.
I don't think I've replaced more than one on one of my atomizers, and that was through personal use, trying to fall something on, and it wouldn't go on when I snapped the O-ring. But that was the only thing. That's the only time I've ever had to actually replace an O-ring. So other than that, the maintenance of it is, if you're putting coiling into it, yes, it's going to fall between, if you're a novice builder, 6 to 7. If you're quite confident at dual coils, maybe 8 to 9. But that's going to be dependent on your skill level with dual coils, basically. So you kind of got to weigh up your options here. Are you a dual coiler or are you a single coiler? If you're a dual coiler, you're going to be happy with this as a tank system. It's an awesome tank system. If you're not a dual coiler but you want to look into it, you're just going to hit around between the 7ish mark. If you're not, but you still would like to crack at it, be prepared to be frustrated, basically.
There you go. That's fair, I think. Right, what would be next would be flavour and vapour. We'll start with vapour, I guess. Vapour, it's a dual coil, it's got adjustable air feeds, you can have it nice and loose, you expect vapour to be good and it doesn't disappoint. In terms of vapour, it's going to get a 10, it's going to be dependent on your build, what resistance you're running, what power you're putting through it and all that kind of hoo-ha. But compared to other devices on what I run, 10 for vapour. Flavour, it's very good, I think. What's the vape like in comparison to, I don't know, a K-Fun, because let's face it, that's what it was going to be killing apparently. I'd say it's on par with a K-Fun. I'd say it's on par. I mean, this juice I haven't actually run in a K-Fun, but I know what this juice tastes like at this point in its steeping cycle, and we've run them through a lot of atomizers, and this isn't the only juice that I run in this. I've also run it in a K-Fun. It's definitely warmer from this than it is from a K-Fun, and certain sort of notes of the flavour will come out in this that you don't get in a K-Fun, and vice versa. That works both ways. It always does. Running a single coil in this might bring them notes out in this as well. The chamber's about the same kind of size, so that is what it is. But flavour for me, I'm going to give it a 10. I like it. I think it's very nice.
For me, the amount of vapour, it's dual coil, it's going to be amazing. As long as you've got the right amount of voltage going through your atomizer to what coil you've got, you're going to get plenty of vapour. I mean, it's going to be a 10. Dual coils generally they're going to outbeat a single coil as long as you've got the airflow and the power you need to get it heating up enough, basically. So yeah, it's a 10. Flavour. Bear in mind that I've got Vapour Stung, I can actually still taste the vape off this, and I've been using my Zeus all day, and flavour's been mild. I've switched my K-Fun and that's stronger, and I've switched to this. I think it's because of the juice we've got in both of these. They're a little bit stronger juices what I've been using in my Zeus, but that's only because I've been using menthols. But the flavour is actually coming through quite well. I mean, I've got my K-Fun that I just puffed on after I used that, and that was to get my flavour kind of where I'm at the moment for now. And I think they're the same. I don't think there's any difference. I think the only difference is that you're getting You've got dual cores in one and single core in the other, but the flavour is still the same. You're just getting, I think, slightly a little bit more vapour from the Aqua than you do the K-Fun. And that's purely down to dual cores. We've had dual core setups on the K-Fun, and it produces the same amount of vapour as it does in the Aqua. So
I'd say personally it produces slightly less purely because the air hole's more restricted on the K-Fun, but that is what it is. Again, if you want it more, you can build it lower. That's what.
But it does seem thicker on the K-Fun.
I see. I was literally about to say this seems denser to me than a K-Fun does.
Seems like K-Fun seems denser.
What I would say on a day to day, I would say this is a standard build for this atomizer, whereas I'd say a single core is a standard build for a K-Fun, and the juice will always be what dictates how much vapour you get as well as your build.
That's a 60-40, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a 60-40, that's a 50-50, so they're around about the same. Why. I'd say that this vapour to me feels slightly denser before it leaves. Once it's left, it's all the same stuff, but because of that the flavour seems to coat me more. Only just, it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing, it's just something I've noticed because it's dependent on what you like. But there you go, in terms of flavour I think we both agree that we're around about, if not the same as a K-Fun, and praise doesn't really come higher than that, let's be fair. Overall, and all things considered, for me, like, obviously looks is a big thing, and it's gorgeous, and then everything else that we've just mentioned. For me personally, I'm giving it a 10, I love it, I do. For most of people out there who've got K-Funs, this is going to be more of a pain in the bitch, and that is just what it is. So you're probably going to give it somewhere around an 8, but I really like this thing, so I'm giving it a 10. I'm
giving it a 9, and that's only because I don't set up dual cores overly too often. I have to be in the mood for a dual core to be bothered with it, basically, and I think it'll be one of those things that when I have set it up, I'll use it all the time, but when it needs changing, it's probably going to sit there for a week before I change it. So I think it's just, it's kind of like a love-hate relationship. I love the tank, I love the build once you actually got it in there, but the dual core setups, they're not my native go-to. I love my K-Fun. I am completely in love with my K-Fun. I'm buying coloured tanks for it and everything.
Makes love to K-Fun for the drip tip.
Yeah, I do like the vapour of the K-Fun, and the ease of the setup just sings to me, you know. And yeah, I think it will be my next go-to tank sort of thing. It'll be the K-Fun, then my Aqua. If I've got them both set at the time, they'll both be on mods and they'll both be out with me. So
there you go. As we mentioned in the K-Fun, a lot of this, and obviously we said sort of K-Fun killer. Is it a K-Fun killer? I guess is the question. It's dependent on your outlook. As Werner's just pointed out, he's in love with his K-Fun. I love my K-Fun. I melted the insulators.
Got some more on the way though.
I did melt the insulators. Also melted a tank that wasn't mine. I'm so sorry for that as well, Elaine. But that being said, it is what it is and it's done. Is it a K-Fun killer? No. No, it's not. Is it equal to a K-Fun? In my opinion, yes it is, but it's not a K-Fun killer purely because the K-Fun setup is so easy compared to a dual core setup. We haven't run this on single core, but does it tick each and every box that a K-Fun does? Hell yeah it does. And that is what it is. On the upside though, alright, K-Fun is what, 67 quid now for the plus?
£67 for the plus and 60 quid if you can still get it on some other sites.
All I will say is a nice little clone Tobeco Aqua from Niger's £33. Vape geeky at yourself a nice H-cigar K-Fun clone for £34.
I mean, we don't know, but when we get this in single core set up, if it's, because single core is going to be a piece of piss to do. If it vapes just as well,
then it could be a go-to.
It could be a K-Fun killer.
As I was saying, £34, £33, 67 quid. People say buy cheap and buy it twice. I say buy cheap and buy it both. That's what it is though. They're both very good clones, guys, if that's what you're after. Fantastic stuff. Very happy I've got it. I think we're pretty much done.
I just want to say on my opinion of the K-Fun killer, I think it could be a K-Fun killer for the dual corers out there. If there's people out there that love their dual cores and they've got the K-Fun and they don't like it because it's single core, that would be their go-to mod. That would only be the only time it would be the K-Fun killer. Other than that, like Mr. Brown said, the K-Fun is so easy to set up. It's like I could do it in my sleep these days. It's just, it's done.
Either that or if you wanted a looser draw. Because even my 3.1 clone, admittedly, won't go as loose as that does. The only thing I've got that would be the 2.1, and that does go as loose as this Aqua does. But
I'd say looser.
Only fraction though. We're talking sort of 0.1.
But we notice this stuff is. I mean, most people out there may not, but
if you wanted that with this kind of tank capacity, I mean, yeah, it's about 2.5–3 mil K-Fun, slightly more, which again is another knock for this and a bonus for the K-Fun. But you'd probably have to buy, because I've tried even the 3.1 clone, probably have to buy a legitimate 3.1, and that's 135 quid versus 35 quid. I think that gives it a little bonus as well, because the Plus's airflow control is nowhere near as good as that. So yeah, if you wanted a looser draw than what a K-Fun can provide, especially if you're on the frequent uncline or the light, that could tick the box as well. So
you can happily do lung pulls on that all day.
Guys, if you want to know whether it's any good, yes it is. If you want one, grab yourself one from Nige, you won't be disappointed. 33 quid delivered, job done.
We can say it's not a K-Fun killer for us, but it could be for you.
Indeed, it's equal to the K-Fun as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Looking at them side by side, that hybrid on an Origin or the K-Fun sat there on a Nemesis, wanting a hybrid kind of look. I know the K-Fun's not truly hybrid, but it looks like it is. I wouldn't care which one I picked up basically. So there you go, praise doesn't come higher than hitting the K-Fun money. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Mr. Proton, this has been Z Worm, we will see you soon.